Good evening and welcome to the program on a Thursday night. I am Buddy Martin. The program's called The Buddy Martin Show. And tonight on the program, special night for you. Waiting in the wings is the authority, probably the number one authority on Gator baseball I know of. He's also pretty good about Gator football. And we're glad to have Steve back on the program. Steve Russell, he'll be here in just a moment. And then we'll pick up with Franz Beer later on. He's wending his way back from a book signing, apparently, and they're going to stop somewhere along the way to check in. And then we've got Jeffrey Meldon, Gator Hoopla, and then we'll wind up with Lauren Meadows. It's going to be a good night. Let's get right down to business and catch up with our friend Steve Russell, host of a very popular show at WRUF. In fact, several. Steve, how you doing? Good to talk to you again.
Hi, buddy. Glad to be here. Thanks for letting me be here.
Yeah, catch us up again on everything you're doing at RUF.
Sure. Sports scene, noon to 2. Back doing that Monday through Friday. And on Mondays, we do Hoop. There it is. Mark Wise and I at noon go over the previous week in basketball and college basketball and look ahead a little bit. So that's always fun to do. And in baseball season, after basketball is over, Jeff Cardozo and I will do a baseball/softball show. So all that's going on. And I'm doing Gator baseball broadcast. So pretty good time for me.
Yeah, and this is crazy. There's so much going on right now. It's wonderful to have it. At the same time, it's hard to keep up, especially when you lose a quarter of a step and you're not quite as fast as you were when you were 30 years old,
I hear that.
You got to catch up. Yeah, but good to have you on. I have lots of questions to ask you tonight. Thanks for spending some time with us. Of course, right at the forefront is this Gator basketball team playing so well. I wrote about how this is kind of like a movable feast for Gator fans. Football trending up without knowing a great deal, except what we like was what we hear. And then now we've got the basketball team. They're just so close now. I read today that 4 wins in a row gets them an outright title. And if they win 3, they get at least a share of the ACC regular season. And a long way from where we thought they would go after losing 5 games earlier in the year, Steve.
Yeah, I got to tell you, buddy, I was not one that doubted Florida like many people did. Did I think they would turn it around quite like they have? No. But Todd Golden convinced me, and he's got a great staff that works with him. And look, the schedule they play, people forget this. They played those great teams. None of those games were at home. None of them. So you look at the schedule. Okay, would you like to have won a couple of those games? Yes. And it didn't look good in terms of shooting the 3. But considering the competition, considering you didn't get anybody here in the O'Connell Center, they held their own. So that told me that if things get a little bit better, the season would be better. And that's exactly what's happened here. And I understand now because Florida did what they did last year. Everybody wants to sort of fast forward to the NCAA tournament. It's a journey, man. And Florida hasn't won very many SEC titles either in its history. So I hope fans will appreciate that if Florida does, in fact, win the SEC.
Yeah, I agree with you. I wasn't ready to push the panic button. In fact, last time we were on the alley, we talked about it, and she mentioned that she was a little more nervous than we were about it. But by the same token, neither did I expect them to have this streak. Was the 6 straight now and 11 out of 10 out of whatever that number is a lot. I know that. And they're playing such good basketball. And yet, Steve, we still believe they can play better. I mean, the guard play has been just nothing short of phenomenal, and now we thought that was a weakness. This is not necessarily Achilles heel. Their front line is so good. I wrote a piece today about Schindler, who was just absolutely a magnificent player. I mean, he was, I'm trying to give him a nickname. I'm thinking maybe we should borrow Babe Ruth's name, the Sultan of SWAT, the way he swats a team, the shots. And he's been phenomenal. What is it, 16 double-doubles? And then the guard play has been terrific. And really, when Thomas Hofkin only scored 10 and not have a great night and they can still win it easily, that's a pretty good night. So they have 6 guys in averaging in double figures, Steve. How good can this team be?
Well, I think two slight, I shouldn't say slight, two adjustments that Todd Golden made, I think it paid huge dividends. Boogie Flan and Xavier Lee were guards that wanted the ball. There was only one ball. So now that Boogie Flan's running the point, everybody knows that. It's Boogie Flan's team now. He's running the point. And I think since that time when that became clear, buddy, they played much better, and the guard play has become much better. And I mentioned this early in the year too, that when players start to know their roles, Isaiah Brown's been a little bit of a factor now. He's getting, real playing time most nights off the bench, an 8-man rotation. They've established that. And, the interchangeable parts, one night it may be Clapshar shooting well. One night it might be Xavier Lee. God forbid if they all shoot well.
Yeah.
And the front court plays the way it plays, whew, right? But we haven't seen that yet, and that's not easy to do. But I just think those things and they feed off of Todd Golden. He has a lot of Spurrier in him, in the sense of, he'll call somebody out, and I think his players feed off of that. I think they love that about their coach. Got a little swagger to him. It's not cocky, but it's swagger, and I think the players feed off that.
Seems that way, and which brings up an interesting point. I'm a huge Thomas Hoff fan. I really love him. I'm telling you, Xavier Lee is shooting the lights out the ball right now. It's unbelievable. And we know Boogie has been running the team. Klausar is the best three-point shooter. We're talking the other night about, okay, who wants the ball at the end? Who do you think? You get the game's on the line. You're playing, I don't care who, let's just make up a name, Texas A&M for the SEC championship. And it comes down to the game is tied, the final ticks. Who gets the ball? Who wants the ball? Who would you pick?
Well, first of all, the ball's going to be in Boogie Flan's hands. I want him to have the basketball running the show for the last play. It's got to be him. He's the guy running the team right now, buddy. I want the ball in his hand. Now, part of what you're asking is it depends on what the other team has as a strength, right? If they're really good, and again, a 2-point game, 3-point game, that matters too. But let's say they're really good in the paint. Well, do you want to get the ball to Chinyulu and have a good defender, guard him? Or do you want to get a guy like Hauk, put him on the wing, make him, do some things? So the point I'm trying to make is they have options. They have a lot of different options. And I think it just depends on who you're playing, what's gone right that night and what that defense presents itself to be. But the good thing about it is they have options, and they have a lot of options in a situation like that.
Very true. I must say, however, I'm a Thomas Hoff fan.
Oh, I
I
am
want
too.
him to get the ball because he creates shots better than anybody.
He
Whether
does.
it's whether he can go the hole or he can shoot the three, whatever. But I'm going to tell you, there's nights. And I mean, Xavier Lee shooting like he's shooting right now. He's so quick to the hole, and he's making the threes. Like you said, it's great options to have because if one guy's not getting it done, somebody else will. This team is good enough to be a Final Four team. Is that the ceiling?
Is it? No. I think they can win the whole thing.
Championship?
Yes, I do, buddy. Now, you know what happens in a tournament? You have one bad game and you're done. I mean, that could certainly happen. But is this team equipped to go all the way? I think it is. But their margin of error maybe isn't quite as big as it might have been last year because you had a Clayton and you had Elijah Martin at the end there that were really making plays right down the stretch.
Yeah.
So who does that for Florida?
Yeah.
This time, if it gets down to the last possession or it's a 3-point game with 10 seconds to go, 15 seconds to go, but they're certainly capable. Certainly capable.
Who's the hot team? I mean, here's the thing about it. I got the standings prior to last night in front of me. We know what happened to Arkansas, and now we look at and think they're tied now, right? Arkansas, Tennessee, and Alabama, whatever, tied for second. Vanderbilt's 8-5. Kentucky, Texas
Missouri's
A&M.
8-5.
Missouri's 8-5. That's correct. What I've got, if I've got updated standings, I've got Arkansas, Tennessee, Alabama, then Missouri 8-5, Vanderbilt 8-5, Kentucky 8-5, Texas 8-5, Texas A&M 8-5. Then Georgia has slipped. I don't know whether they're 7-7 or 6-7. Mississippi State now and Auburn are not doing well, and Oklahoma and Ole Miss are kind of out of it. So the situation has changed. Out of that group, what's the top team you don't want to face?
Depends home or away. Um, Before they lost last night, I would have said Arkansas. And it took a Herculean effort by Alabama to beat them. But Arkansas's Achilles heel, in my opinion, buddy, is their defense. They can score, but they have trouble stopping people. And that's why, I think you can't always count on winning, 95-90. There's going to be a night you don't shoot it. So does your defense pick you up on a night when you don't shoot it? I don't know that Arkansas can do that. And I think Florida can. I think if Florida's not shooting well, can they win a game, 70-65? Yeah, I think they can. And I don't think Alabama can. I think they're another team that scores a lot of points. Missouri is a team I would not want to see.
They're just a mystery team, aren't they?
They are. I mean, they can beat you in different ways. They weren't expected to do a whole lot this year. A&M now, I think, is, we see the flaws in them. But if you're asking me the second best team today, I would still say Arkansas.
Okay. It's kind of a mess in the national picture now. UConn apparently is back. He relinquished their hold on number one seed in CBS's bracketology. They fell to Creighton. You didn't expect that, right?
No.
In 91-84.
At home, especially.
Yeah. Houston's now gone back to the number one line, edging out UConn, Iowa State, Illinois, etc. I saw Iowa State play. I know they're a gutty team. I'm not an Iowa State fan. I don't think they're going to get there. It's just my opinion. But that Houston team just won't go away. It's a little early to start talking about national opponents yet till we see where Florida gets out of the SEC. They're on probably the 3 line now, could get to the 2 line perhaps. But if we could project it down the line, what do we see happening?
I like Houston too. I think they're better offensively this year than what they were, and maybe not quite as good defensively as what they were, but they know what it takes to win in a big game. I like the job Dusty May's done at Michigan. I think they could be somebody to be reckoned with down the road here as well. And then look, when you get to the NCAA tournament, it's all about matchups, buddy. Who do you get? Is your matchup favorable to what your team is? Is it a bad matchup? I mean, certainly UConn can bounce back and win. Nebraska's kind of cooled off a little bit. And look at Kansas. I mean, they're having issues with their best player.
Yeah.
And when he played last night for a half, he was terrific. And look what happened to Devonsa last night.
But he's not going to show up the next game because it was
right.
cramps.
And you don't know that can't be good for Kansas. And then Devonsa was wonderful last night, but BYU got beat. So, it's kind of wide open here. I don't know that there's a big, a dominant number one team, but there's a whole bunch of really good teams.
You bring up an interesting point. Remember, stuff happens in March Madness.
Yes.
Always.
Yes.
Stuff happens. And you look now, you think, look at what happened to Texas Tech. JT Toppin out for this season, torn ACL.
Yep.
And one of the things I'll say about Florida, I hope this is not the case, they have interchangeable parts. If they lost anybody but Thomas Hoff or Chinyalu, they could probably take that hit. You mentioned Isaiah Brown. I had big hopes for him early this year, but he kind of let me down a couple of nights ago. Couldn't throw it in the ocean and seemed like he was lost. But when he's on his game, he's so good to the basket. He can shoot the 3. Physically, he can go after the basketball. So he's the one guy that I think could emerge in the offseason or in the postseason. But stuff happens in March Madness.
Yeah, and you have to take each game as its own thing, and that's the beauty of the tournament, right? I'm not saying what you do in the regular season doesn't matter because you're seeded because of what you did in the regular year, but it all becomes matchups at that point, right? And how is that team playing? How do you play on that day? You're not going to play a great game all year long. If you're a good team, even the best teams have a stinker or two. They do. And you just can't play at that level for the NBA teams go have stinkers, right? So, but you don't want to have that stinker in March.
No.
You want to be playing your best basketball.
Sudden
And
death.
yeah, and Florida right now arguably is playing its best basketball right now as we get closer to the tournament.
No doubt about it. I want to talk a little baseball with you because
Sure.
I'm really late to the party here and I don't know much about this. I want to get into uh, Sully missed the first three games. I had to actually write you and I find out because I couldn't tell from any of the stories if he was in it or not. I know he was scheduled to be set out for three games.
He did.
And now we got a great name emerging. They lose the opening to UAB, which is not a happy camper. People didn't like that. But what a name, Cash Strayer. Oh my gosh. I love that name. Now, this guy comes out of nowhere. He went 5 for 8 with a pair of doubles and a home run, sort of pair of runs of the day. And now suddenly his numbers are starting to really blow up, but he had not playing enough. Tell me about Cash Strayer.
He was the co-SEC freshman of the week after what he did against UAB. And he has played himself, at least I think, into a starting role right now. If you look at Florida's opening day lineup, they had two guys in Stripling and Yost who played a ton for them last year who were in the opening day lineup. They haven't been in the lineup since because some young players like a Cash Strayer have emerged and they're hitting and they're staying in the lineup. And if you notice through the years what Kevin O'Sullivan has done, if you hit, you find yourself in the lineup someplace. They'll make a spot for you because you're hitting. Kyle Jones didn't have a good night last night, but he's been a spark plug. You can see what they missed last year without him. They seem to really like Lawson at shortstop. He's been there. They got Sam Miller in the portal, but he played third base the other day. So they have a lineup, buddy, that I think they can mix and match, play a hot guy, don't lose a ton if they put somebody else in there defensively. They've got three catchers, but the TCU transfer, Bowen will probably do the majority of the catching. So I think this is a deeper offensive team. Maybe, we'll see about the home runs, but they've hit them here early on. They have a lot of lineup flexibility, and I think that's going to serve them well.
Well, let's switch over to football for a second and bring this guy in. He's on the road, stopped to join us on Franz is eating his dinner somewhere, and he came back from a book signing. And good evening to your friends. I'm hearing a lot of good things about the football program. And before I go there, I want to get to this quote. I've been reading lately about what Jim Brown said about Fred Taylor. And there's apparently a description of a picture where he said Fred Taylor is the best running back in football. Now, that from anybody would be praised, but Jim Brown, I mean, why can't Fred Taylor get over the hump and get if he's that good? And does he deserve to be in the Hall of Fame? Steve first year, and then Franz when he finishes at Bite of Food.
Fred is, yes. Do I think he deserves to be? Yes. But it's going to be a tough road, I think, for him.
Why? Why is it?
He didn't play. Did he play on great teams?
Mm-hmm.
Did people see him a lot? He was certainly a featured back, but he also played at a time when there were a lot of other. Remember, running the football in his era was a much bigger deal than it is now. Throwing the ball all over the place, and so I think he's been the victim of somewhat of having other really, really good running backs that had more name recognition, and again, of where he played, that they don't look at Fred Taylor as a Hall of Famer. Is he a slam dunk Hall of Fame type guy? No, but his numbers he should be not because he played at Florida. He should be in the Hall of Fame.
Franz, good evening to you. What's your thought about Fred Taylor?
I think he should be in. The problem is like Steve said, he played in Jacksonville. You don't equate greatness with Jacksonville. You just don't. And that's going to be his biggest obstacle. If he had played at Pittsburgh, because they won championships, they won 6 Super Bowls at Pittsburgh, you equate greatness with Pittsburgh. You don't equate it with Jacksonville. They've never won a championship. They never played in a Super Bowl. And he's going to be a victim of that. And is it right? No, but it's the world we live in.
All right. That's fine. I mean, the Hall of Fame's a tricky thing. Unfortunately, a lot of people get caught up with the fame of the person when they leave the game and become a broadcaster and all that stuff. They get into halls of fame, etc. But nonetheless, he certainly is worthy. All right, let's go back to football. And Steve, I know you get bits and pieces. You haven't got time to chase down everything going on there. But we're hearing things. So I say hearing. We've seen several interviews that John has done, which by the way are very good. I've enjoyed them, and we're hearing comments. And one of the most recent things I heard was this wide receiver. They seem to be really stacked with wide receivers, and we're hearing about Bailey Stockton. Have you guys heard about him?
No, not a great deal. I'm being honest.
Okay.
No.
Okay. Because he's coming today with several people are praising him to the skies. He's really going to be something. He's got a hard time breaking in that lineup with those receivers. So, what have you been hearing, Steve, about the football program from your position in the catbird seat there where you are?
Sure. I just had Florida's new defensive coordinator on the show. Very impressed. And remember, he's a guy that's coached in the NFL too. He coached with the Colts. So he brings that experience as well as SEC experience. And I'm not one that puts a whole lot of stock. They're doing a great job in the weight room, supposedly, right? Everything's going well that way. But until I, put eyes on people and see, what they do. But one of the things he said really struck me, fellas, and it was this. I said to him, how do you start determining, who's one and who's two at a position? And he said, if you just go out there and put the ones with the ones, what happens if a one goes down? And then the two has to come in. So I want the two to play with the one so that if somebody does go down, they're going to understand what to do. They're going to have some familiarity with those guys that are the ones. And as much as that just makes common sense, I've never heard anybody really say that before. That impressed me. That struck me because it's smart. That's what you should do.
What do you think, Franz, about Brad White and about what we're hearing?
I like him because his Kentucky defenses may not have had the talent that a lot of people had, but they played hard. They were physical. And at the end of the day, you knew you got their best shot. And I look back at the last 4 years at Florida, I'm not always sure we got the best shot from these guys. And I hate to say that. We saw games like LSU and we saw games like Texas this year when we knew we got their best effort. But you got to wonder, if they could do that against Texas, why couldn't they do that against Mississippi State? And that's a fair question to ask.
It's a fair question. That is. Yeah.
You've got to. I'm convinced that if you can look at the guys that you've got, and when they walk off the field, you can say, we got everything they had. Maybe they didn't win, but we know they gave us everything.
And that's all we want to see. We want to see their best efforts. That's for sure. So
we want to see wins, of course. But
yeah.
gosh,
Well,
but
don't
you know
focus
what?
on the result. Saban says, don't focus on the result, on the outcome. The process.
If you give your best effort,
Probably, yeah.
people are going. You win when people give their best efforts.
Yeah.
Typically, so.
Yeah, let me do this commercial because the man I'm doing it for is online waiting. Coming up in about a minute and a half, we're going to have Gators Hoopla. And the man who hosts the show, Jeffrey Meldon, has just been to dinner with one of the basketball coaches. I know, Steve, you got to go pretty quick, but let me do the commercial. Bring Jeffrey in. Steve, we'll let you get a word, and then we'll let you go do what you're going to do. I know you're busy, man.
Okay.
First, let me tell you about Meldon Law. There's a lot you probably don't know. I can tell you this. They're expanding for a reason. They're good people. They do a terrific job. They're the official law firm of the Florida Gators, but they're looking out for you. And that's the thing. When you want to trust somebody, when you need a lawyer, and we're all going to, who do you go to? You go to somebody you know, you trust. And if they happen to be a Gators, that's even better. And Jeffrey Meldon's has all of that. They do a great job, and they've done some great work for me. And with that, I'll bring in the man who says they won't back down, and they're going to let him get a word in early, and before Steve has to go to his show called Gators Hoopla. That would be Jeffrey. What's up, Jeffrey?
Hey, we're having a great time tonight, buddy. How you doing?
We want to know. We're waiting with bated breath that you went to dinner with one of the basketball coaches, and Steve and I and Franz. I want you to give it up. Tell us what you said.
So I'm out with Carolyn Hartman over at Dragonfly, and I saw you called, so I called you back, and you said, "What do you think about giving Ruben Chignello the title, the chairman of the board,
or Sultan of the SWAT?" Yeah. What do you say?
I don't know. I went back and I talked to Carlin about it, and he thinks you're a genius. He thinks chairman of the board.
We'll go with that then.
I love it. Okay. So he's all in, and what he was is that he's going to go to Ruben and say, "You've been appointed chairman."
I love it.
To live up to it.
I love that.
Team, okay.
I love it.
There's a local sandwich shop that's going to debut the Ruben Double Double.
I know. So he also wants me to go out and make shirts saying chairman of the board, and put a copyright on it or whatever.
Well, go get it. You're the attorney here. Go get it. See, what do you think, chairman of the boards?
I like that. You know who has that name in sports also? He's in the Hall of Fame in baseball. Whitey Ford.
Oh, really?
He was known as the chairman of the board when he pitched for the Yankees.
Oh, yes. This is boards, though. So
yeah. Oh, different thing.
No, but I mean, Sultan of SWAT Babe Ruth had. So
absolutely.
Yeah. Why was
chairman of the board
thing? Yeah.
Definitely something that fits him.
All right.
Babe Ruth was the Sultan of SWAT too.
Yes, that's correct. That's what I said earlier.
Hey, Whitey Ford was our nemesis. I was a Cleveland Indians fan.
Oh yeah. Well, Whitey Ford was a lot of people's nemesis.
Yeah.
He was. I mean, he's a Hall of Famer, obviously. And
for
if you look at, and I'm digressing here, but growing up there as a little kid, his winning percentage is ridiculous. When he was with the Yankees, it's ridiculous. Go look it up. It's incredible what he did.
Yeah. Well, So, well, thank you for doing that, Jeffrey. I appreciate it very much, and we'll move that forward. Maybe get us a T-shirt going. And my big thing now is bring back Gator Bait. That's what I'm working on next.
So here's a scoop. I'm sitting at dinner with Carlin, right? And I say, "Okay, Carlin, what are we going to do next year with our front court? Everybody's going." And he says to me, "Not so fast." He says, Kondo and Rube both have eligibility.
Yeah. Yeah, Yes, that's a good point. We talked about that the other night, Franz. We talked about these guys aren't going to go anywhere. They're not going to be first round picks.
Yeah.
Well, I tell you what, they got a couple other guys in Brown and different guys I think there that could fill in. Maybe we'll talk. We'll worry about next year when he gets here. Steve. Let's take what we got tonight, right?
Yes, and they also have the portal too.
They have the portal,
and Micah will be back.
Yeah, but that's how I started the conversation. Steve, was okay, Coach. We're going to have to go heavy into the portal for the front court next year, and he surprised me when he said, "Well, these guys have eligibility, and I wouldn't rule it out."
No, I wouldn't rule. I mean, they're going to have options, but I'm right. You're right, Jeffrey. I wouldn't rule that out either.
They could probably make more money at Florida than they will as a second rounder. Chandler Parsons is one of the few second rounders I've known that had a really good deal, because he got a 3-year contract. Got a 3-year contract that was worth $5 million as a second rounder. That doesn't happen. And especially now where guys can make NIL money. I'll tell you, if you're let
me let Steve go. He's got to get out of here. He's got a morning show to do, and say good night. Yeah, thank you, Steve. Appreciate it, buddy.
Guys. Good to see y'all.
Thank you very much.
Okay.
All right, Franz, you go ahead. We got
if you're a second rounder, you're at the skill level these guys do, you probably will make more money by being a college basketball player for another year. And,
that's true.
And you got to admit, if the Gators were to win a second straight, don't you know that the temptation to say, why don't we go for 3? Not a whole lot of that we've had back-to-back. Had it here. UConn's had back-to-back. When's the last time we had 3 in a row? You got to go all the way back to UCLA and John Wooden before you find a team that won 3 straight.
Yeah. So what else did we find out tonight, Jeffrey? That's a good job so far. You might make a reporter yet,
I'm just sitting there having a good time. So I want to give a plug, buddy, to my friend Tom Dorn, Dorn's Liquor. Okay. I'm drinking some really fine bourbon. It's 122 proof. Okay.
Ooh, wow.
And Tom Dorn, if your listeners haven't been to Dorn's Liquors, it's got incredible deals on wine and whiskey. So I just want to plug in. Sure. And I go back to his father before him. In 1982, I established a charge account at Dorn's Liquor. I'm one of 2 people left in the world.
That's good to know. Well, coming up in just a minute, we're gonna let Franz go too, because he's driving home, and we're gonna have Lauren Meadows come in. And what is going on with Meldon Law? I know there's a lot of stuff. You guys are busy. You always got some project for the good of the game, and in fact, being the official law part of the University of Florida as well. But what are you up to these days, Jeffrey? You bought transportation for the band. You've had the rings. Now what do you got to keep going?
My beautiful wife Patricia has now put together this group of amazing women who are going to resuscitate women's basketball at the University of Florida.
That's a good word. Well, good. Well, Patricia's got the magic formula, huh?
Well, we're giving away 50 tickets for this Sunday's game.
Okay.
And they're going to give, they're going out to all the high schools and getting high school women's basketball coaches and everybody to start having the young kids come to the games. And, we're giving away the tickets. And the idea is that Kelly Ray Finley is a very, very good coach at her age. She's, I think barely 40 years old. And when you look at all these big winners, Dawn Staley,
Takes a minute. Takes a minute.
They've been around a while. They
Mhm.
at 39 years old, they weren't winning, major championships. And the University of Florida, in my opinion, has an opportunity to build a sustainable program that's excellent. So I think that it's going to be more grassroots because of NIL and the way they finance these programs. So what we're trying to do is create some energy and build up the program and get donors so that Kelly Ray has the money necessary in order to navigate the NIL and build the program.
Mm-hmm. Yeah. So, all right. We did make a promise here. We have not followed up on it. And only because we haven't really had gotten around to it, but we're going to make good on it. Because we told, speaking of giving away things, we're going to give away some books that this guy right here wrote. Terrific book. If you haven't got it, make sure you get one. Franz went to a book signing today with the Marion County Gator Club. And the book is just doing really well. It's called The Golden Season. And if you like basketball and you want to treasure that memory, you got it right there in words and the pictures with Chris Spears. It's a terrific book. We're proud of it. If you don't know how to get it, well, get online to Spurrier's Grind Grill, hit the link and go to a shop and look at it there. You can order it there. Or if you're lucky enough to be around like Franz was today, you could have gotten it at reduced prices because if you don't have to ship it. So anyway, that's one. Secondly, you got one of those.
Buddy, the one time I hand delivered 3 of Franz's books today to Coca-Cola in Gainesville. The district manager said that the president of Coca-Cola and the chief financial officer wanted copies of the book. And
great.
Our rings, okay. So I gave a package of the ring and Franz's book to the president of Coca-Cola.
Wow.
Somebody scored big on that. That's great. That ring is fabulous. I mean, really, that's great. Franz is smiling here. He's happy now. Thank you, Jeffrey. Listen, I want you promoting my stuff anytime. And you've done a great job. All right. So anything else that Meldon Law is up to that we can talk about?
Yeah, we're growing. It's really exciting. What we're trying to do is create the gold standard for high quality law in our neighborhood. And our neighborhood is I-75 from the Georgia line down to Villages. That's our neighborhood. And got offices in Lake City, Gainesville, Ocala, and the Villages. So that's our network. And what I want folks to know is that we are going to deliver results that are better than anybody else in our community. That's what's important. On a consistent basis, we measure it and we exceed it. Now, if you want to know what's new, is that we are developing jury verdict research groups in order to get community members to come in and help us value cases and develop themes in cases so that they're a more compelling argument to the insurance companies, the insurance attorneys, and if necessary, to the jurors in the case. And we're doing it because we value the opinions of everybody in the community, because oftentimes lawyers overlook important ideas and themes in a case. That's what's going on in Meldon law right now.
Okay. All right. Good.
And
all right. Go ahead.
What we're going to be doing, buddy, is give people a delicious dinner and $125 to show up and give us their opinions.
Wow. That's pretty good there.
Okay.
To show up. That's great. Yeah, that's good. Franz wants 3. So here's the deal. And I thank you for Justin for bringing this up. This whole thing with bringing back Gator Debate, don't we all? I mean, aside from it being a name of my company, that's one thing, but just what's right. And the way that got kissed off, the way it was handled, was ridiculous. And I'm hoping we're going to be able to bring this thing back. Jeffrey, we're working with Freddie Weavy on this as well. We got to have that back as a cheer, and we got to have it back as part of our DNA. You know, so
Yeah, I thought it was all a bunch of bullshit in the beginning. And
yeah, and you're right.
okay, I think we've crossed the line here.
Yeah. Anyway, so there's a comment from Brent English, one of our good friends. He said you can ask Jeffrey. It's got to bring back Gator banner behind one of the planes. The flags over this thing. We'll take all. We'll get all right. We'll take all the good ideas. Whatever we got to do. I think we should. I think we should also get Jeffrey to streak.
If you like what you see, but I'm better
They'll
than
say, put your clothes back on.
I'm still,
Brent,
hey buddy, I'm
Yeah.
still doing 42 push-ups every morning.
all right, my man. All right. You're doing great. You're doing great.
Never know what you're gonna
You
say.
never know. There's another guy that's doing great. I'm gonna bring him on and let Franz go. That's our man Lauren Meadows. Coach Meadows, welcome to the program and to the Gator Hoopla program with Jeffrey.
Yes, sir. How y'all doing? Good to see you again, Mr. Meldon.
Yeah, Jeffrey, please. So we were over at the game the other night, and
You
Yes,
make
sir.
you feel old when you say Mr. Meldon.
Before I go, I'll say one thing. It's got to be fun watching Gorilla Ball back with the softball team because that was their DNA when Tim started. Gorilla Ball, they hit home runs like crazy, and he's got a ball club now that everybody in the lineup can hit one out of the yard, and
Yeah, no doubt.
it's got to be fun to watch again.
Yeah, he says basically a bunch of, they only have about 17 players, but of the 10 to 11 position players, he just calls them all Swiss Army knives. They can do a little bit of everything. So,
Yeah.
most definitely.
Well, we're talking hoops. Let's say goodnight to Franz. He's going to drive home from there. He's got long days signing books. You know, when you're a famous author, you get asked to do a lot of stuff like that. Franz, thank you, buddy.
No
There's
doubt.
the book.
You know,
There it
guys.
is right there.
All
Yeah.
right.
All right. Jeffrey
See you
saying
guys.
delivered 3 to Coca-Cola today. Appreciate it. All right, Franz Berry. Mr. Meldon, Mr. Meadows,
Yes, sir.
we got to be feeling pretty good about the basketball team right now. I mean, we can talk about anything you want to talk about. I was just discussing this with Steve Russell, and I'll ask you guys the question. Game's on the line. Given that we know that Flan is going to have to be the point guard, bring handling the ball. Who wants the last shot? You're tied 82 all against Texas A&M for the championship. Who should get the ball, Jeffrey?
Tommy Hawk
Okay.
Mhm.
correct answer. Okay.
It's a good answer. Yeah, that's a good answer because he can create shots. And that's part of it as well, Lauren, is can you get a shot off? You got to get it off. Get a good shot off, right?
Yeah, no doubt. And if you can't get a good shot off, you got to be able to get to the free throw line. So you talk about somebody that has the ability to drive the basketball, can elevate with strength, and possibly get fouled in those key moments. And he's shown that he can come up clutch from the free throw line in those times. So yeah, I mean, right now if it's got to really go somewhere. I mean, the Gators have kind of been a team where they just kind of find the best shot. But if you have to have somebody and you say, okay, we need to run something to get this person open, it's got to be Thomas Howe.
Yep. Yeah. Jeffrey had an interesting dinner tonight. We have a new nickname. Jeffrey, why don't you tell Lauren what it is?
So I get a call from Buddy to make sure I got the link for the show, and I call him back from dinner. I'm having dinner with Carlin Hartman tonight, right?
Okay.
So Buddy says, we all set for tonight? I said, yeah, we're all set. He says, well, I got a new name for Ruben. I said, what is it? He said, chairman of the boards. So I walk back into Dragonfly, and I go, Coach, what do you think about this name for Rube? He said, I love it. He said, let's go.
No doubt.
Okay? So Buddy Martin gets the rights to the name chairman of
No doubt.
and now Coach is going to tell him if you have been anointed chairman of the board, you got to live up to it.
There you
Oh
go.
yeah. I mean, that nickname, you got to make it stick for sure.
Yeah,
But
man, we got to get a T-shirt. Freddie get us a shirt.
Yeah,
Chinlo, chairman of the boards. We'll start wearing
yeah,
that for the March Madness. That's fun.
yeah, and I
but
think that's going to be the prevailing. I mean, I think when you look back on this season, if it ends the way some of us are thinking it's leaning, I think you're going to find that his improvement, really on both ends of the floor, was what really made this team, be what they are, and make that run. If it turns out they at least make the Final Four in Indy.
you know what Coach told me today? That the three metrics that they drill into the players' heads is defense number one, rebounds number two, and turnovers number three. Those are the
Mhm.
three metrics that this team operates on.
Right. Yeah.
It's
And
one
if you,
thing to say it. There's certain things that have a lot to do with the will, right? As a coach, you know that, Lauren. And one of them is playing defense. You got to have the will. And
mhm,
another one's rebound. You got to have the will. So,
right.
from the will standpoint, I think Todd's done a fantastic job of coaching these guys, and
Yeah.
identifying and developing. Jeffrey, the way he develops material, develops these players is remarkable.
Well, we were talking about the prospects of Summerlin, and Summerlin we think is going to be divergent from Billy Napier because Napier never really got into the face of the players. He
Or the fans or the media.
he dele- no, he delegated it to his assistant coaches, but
Mhm.
Todd Golden is there engaged in practice, and John Sumrall is going to be there engaged in practice, talking individually to the players, not delegating it, because this guy's a friggin' super dynamo. And it's going to be interesting to see how that change in style. Dan Mullen did a very good job, right? When he had the talent of motivating and winning games. And a lot of us forget that coaches matter. And I think that Sumrall has all the ingredients necessary to develop our program into a championship program.
We're talking about this last night. You're right. And we're talking about how, and again, we get a little bit excited when our coaches on the precipice of perhaps winning a second national championship. But we're saying last night, just based on what we see right now, when you talk about good coaches, I don't care what sport you're in, Todd Golden is suddenly a real gem. He's GM, not JM, and he has been a tremendous hire. And Jeffrey, you know him really well. You spent time around him a lot. What's he like?
Well, he's a highly motivated young man who is smart as shit and has come up with some cutting edge techniques. But the bottom line is he's out there with his players in their face, pushing them, developing them. He's got really good assistant coaches and associate head coaches working with him on creating both the talent and the chemistry. And if one thing I can say for Todd is he is focused in on the chemistry and he won't put up with any bullshit between the players. Okay. You know that, Lauren.
Yeah. I mean, it's very clear with his expectations. And I mean, we talked about it last night, or night before last, they were interviewing him and they said, you're the basically one of three coaches to win a national title before your 40th birthday, Bob Knight, Valvano, and you. And they were like, if you win it again, I mean, what is there? And, what he's been able to do is put last year's championship to bed and isolate each individual season in its own. And he talked about that. And I think that that is going to be something that when you look at it that way, that they're going to be able to continue to build on this success. It may not win it every year, but you're talking about a team that's going to be laser focused to be the best team that they can be year in, year out. And it's because of Ty Golden and his ability to get the most out of his players and be as efficient a basketball team on both ends as they can be. And I think that's what we're seeing with him, as he goes into now, his fourth year, right? Fourth year. And then going into fifth, sixth, seventh, and so on, still being a young coach, so to speak.
Yeah. I mean, look, when you look at, Kentucky, North Carolina, Duke, those programs, Kansas, right? They've always had coaches that have been outstanding, and that's how they built the program. We had Billy Donovan for 18 years. I mean, my God, we were, no matter what year it was, nobody wanted to take Florida for granted. Donovan, right? So
yeah, no doubt.
So, and that's what you're talking about, right?
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, it's funny, everybody talks about Donovan, and you may know the answer. You or Buddy or both. I always find it interesting. They talk about the 2 national titles and I think 4 Final Fours that Billy Donovan went to. But how many Elite Eights did they go to? I mean, that they were in a number of Elite Eights as well, with some really good basketball teams. So that in itself kind of speaks to, I think, where Golden has this program now.
Yeah, and that's what the University of Florida wants to be the gold standard for our university. Okay,
Mm-hmm.
No matter what the athletic program is, that we want to be competitive with the top programs in the country.
Yes, sir.
Well, they're certainly there at the moment, and certainly exciting time to be at Florida with the football team on the way up, and everybody loves this guy. Let's see where they are if he's 8-5. But still, I think this
And
guy.
shout out to our girl Kelly Ray Finley. She got it done tonight too, Jeffrey.
Oh, good. What was the final score?
They end up winning by about 16. So big win at the hump down up there in Starkville. So big win.
Nice.
And we were talking about that earlier, Lauren, and my wife and a lot of her friends have put together a group to really promote women's basketball. And we have one of the youngest teams in the SEC, and we're still competitive, although we're losing some of the close games that we could win. However, I believe women's basketball is the marquee sport for women's sports. It gets more airtime than any other sport, right? And the University of Florida needs to be competing seriously in women's basketball. And that's one of the things we're getting. And you know more about it than anybody.
Yeah, no doubt.
All right, guys, we're going to wrap it up. Final thoughts. Go ahead, Jeffrey. Sure.
I want to ask Lauren, what is Kelly Ray Finley, in your opinion, the person that can elevate the basketball program over the next 2, 3, 4 years?
I do. I think she's, I think it's going to take a little bit of humbleness, but a passion for the game to do something that's never been done in Florida history, to win an SEC and really drive this program. But what I think that Kelly does, just like a Summerall and even a Golden, she gets it because she brings her program to the people. And what I encourage people to do is get to know her, personally, and get to know her program, because she's one of the few coaches that invites people into her program to get a look at it and really see the work that they're doing. And I do. I really do. I think it'd be a step backwards for Florida to feel like they need to go in a different direction when the institutional investment, in my opinion, hasn't been made. Now, if you throw a lot at it and it doesn't work, that's one thing. But you tried to finger paint when everybody else is painting with with really good paint and liquid colors and good canvases. So, let's give her all the tools that other folks are giving their people, and let's see what happens.
Meanwhile, we got a big game on Saturday again, right, Lauren?
Oh yeah, another one. Yeah,
Gonna
I
be
mean,
fun
yeah.
time for the
Florida,
Buccaneers.
it's hoop season now for a minute. We can put the football to bed for a little bit and enjoy
Not
this
completely,
ride.
not
We
completely,
can
but
enjoy
give it.
but this is talking season, and there's really nothing concrete to hold on to. But with this basketball team, you can get into it and really make this drive to Indy, man. So I'm looking forward to returning back to the Midwest if they make this run.
Back to your home country. Lauren Meadows, Coach
Yes, sir.
Meadows. You say Lauren, get him on low down with Lauren Tuesday nights, and Jeffrey's always there if you need him, and you know where to get him. Jeffrey, thank you so much.
Yes, sir. Always
Good
a pleasure.
job.
Thank you.
Tell Coach, thank you for the props on the new nickname, Sherman the Boards. All right.
I love it, but you're a genius.
Oh, yeah, right. Sure, I am. As long as you think so, that's what matters. Thanks, Jeffrey. Thanks, Lauren. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir.
All right, guys. Good night. Just say good night with our friends from Titan MRI Imaging. We'll say good night to our friends first. They have 3 locations to serve you now. 2 in Gainesville with their Park Avenue location, and now the Millennium Center. 1 in Lake City, serving all of Columbia County and Valdosta, Georgia. If you haven't heard about it, Titan MRI Imaging offers the same great customer service. They will do things for you no other place will do if you want to catch the hand, whatever you need, MRI. They offer the services. If you can't get there in the afternoon, they'll make a night appointment for you. They accept insurance, or you can go through their convenient self-pay program as well. They offer MRIs, CAT scans, X-rays, ultrasounds, easy schedule with lots of options, as I said. And here's the cool thing. They offer those larger cages, MRI machines for patient comfort. If you ever had to have an MRI and you got into it and then realized what you're getting into, and you see this little tiny tube you got to go through, oh my gosh, you can get it, hyperventilate pretty quick. They're aware of that, and they know that sometimes the customers or the patients need a little help, and they provide that. We're given the opportunity to go to the larger machines. No yards, no hospitals. Coming to Ocala pretty soon. It's about to serve Marion County, the surrounding area. Titan MRI, it's your choice. Thanks again for a great program tonight. Thanks all you folks for tuning in. We'll take the weekend and watch a little ball. Be back after on Monday. Don't forget, if you don't belong to Gator Bait, you need to. You need to go check it out, and you need to you need to join, because there's lots of good stuff that you're not going to get if you don't, and you're going to be missing it. So I encourage you, exhort you to go to GatorBaitMedia.com. Check out why people love hearing their friends reading Franz Beard and a few other guys there. And we do things somebody else does. It's your kind of your Gator boutique for information. So we'll say good night with that. And we'll say God bless. See you after the weekend.